Bonjour à tous et à tous. Good morning everyone. Je m'appelle Assis. Depuis 8 ans, moi j'ai travaillé comme le professeur de français. Since the last 8 years, I have been working as a French teacher. Et aujourd'hui, on va commencer une journée autour de la langue française. D'accord. Today we are going to do a small tour of French speaking world. Okay, so on y va, on va commencer notre voyage. Let's begin our journey. Plus d'abord, first of all, bienvenue tout le monde. First of all, welcome all the students in the new journey of life for learning the new skill of life, that is French language, right? Now, why French? Okay, pourquoi français? Parce que la langue française c'est très important. French language is very important. It is the oldest, one of the oldest Latin language among the Latin families of language. For example, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian. Among all these Latin language, French is very popular, widely utilized, and very ancient language. Right. So let's continue our journey of learning French. Now, where French is spoken? This is a world map. So in this world map, you see in the mainland France is the origin place of the French language, like Britain is the origin place of English. So in the same manner, France is the origin place of French language, right? So apart from France, French is the official language of many countries, many places of the world, where French is spoken as a first or a second language, or in some cases it is also utilized as a third language, right? For example, in France it is first language, then we have in Belgium, in Switzerland, in Monaco, in Corsica, in French we call La Corse, right? These are the places where French is the first language. Apart from that, among the Indian students and Indian immigrants, nowadays French is very popular for Quebec province of Canada. That is the biggest province of Canada, where French is the first official language. And apart from that, in other provinces of Canada also French is widely utilized as a second language with English, right? Apart from that, in the United States also, in southern part of the United States, French is widely utilized, and it is the official language of one of the states in the United States, right? And in Guyana, in Latin America, French is in Guyana Francais, in French Guyana, it's official language. Apart from that, there are many countries in Africa where French is spoken as the first or second language, right? These all are the ex-French colonies, right, where French is spoken. And here in, for example, in New Caledonia, New Caledonia, the island group of islands which are located near Australia, where French is also an official language, right? And in Asia, for example, there are certain places like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, where French is widely utilized as a second language. And of course, in Middle East, there is a place called Lebanon. In French, we call Liban. There, French is spoken in these territories of the world. And here, island of Maurice, les îles de Maurice, island of Mauritius, where French is widely spoken, right? Is the first language in Mauritius. So let's continue our voyage. So first of all, like in English, we have IELTS exam. So in French, we have DALF exam depuis 1985. Since 1985, this exam is valid par tout le monde across the world. So qu'est-ce que c'est DALF? What is DALF? DALF stands for Diplôme étudiant, Diplôme en études de la langue française. Diploma in studying in French language, and DALF is advanced level. So that stands for Diplôme d'avancée de la langue française. Diploma in advanced level of French language. So what is DALF? DALF has 4 level. For example, basic level like A1, A2, and B1, B2, which is intermediate level, and DALF has advanced level, that is a C1 and C2, right? So DALF diploma is valid across the world. All the French speaking territories, they accept the holders of DELF and DALF for education purpose, for education immigration, education purpose, or for immigration purpose as well, right. So in every territory where French is spoken, that DELF and DALF are valid across the world. Okay. Apart from that, in there is a province du Quebec in Canada. So there is a province of Quebec province in Canada, where they have also come out with the TEF exam, test d'évaluation de français, a test of the French evaluation, right, where TEF exam is also valid. That is this is another test of French language. And now Quebec is a special place in Canada. It's an entirely French speaking and dominated territory, where they have their own constitution, where they have their own parliament, where they have their own flag, and they have their own education immigration system, and where they have their own PR, Quebec Skilled Worker Immigration Program, right. So Quebec is a country within Canada, is another country within a country, right. It's like that, and where the government of Quebec has given priority to all the French speakers, right. So if you are holding DELF or DALF, or even you have some good score in TEF, right. For example, if you have done your DELF and DALF, and if you are having a good level like B2 or C1 or B1 level, then easily you can get a best score in a TEF evaluation exam, right. So if you know French, then Quebec is an excellent opportunity for you. Okay, because the government it is so important. The government is spending its own money behind teaching French in the province of Quebec. So it's very important. I hope you understand, right? Because the government from its own budget is spending money for training its own people, integrating its own people into French language, right. So I am pretty sure that you know the importance of French language, right. Apart from Quebec, another territory where French is spoken is the European Union, right. It is the official language of European Union. There are many countries in Europe. For example, France as a mainland country, France, then Monaco, then Corsica, then even the government of Portugal also give priority to the French speaker. If somebody is applying for Portuguese skilled worker, job seeker or skilled worker visa category, then in that French is also given a lot of importance, right. And apart from that, across Europe they utilize French as a language. So if you have good knowledge about French, then in European Union also you can find some good job, or you can also find French university where you can apply, and there will be a concession in the fee. So most important thing in learning French is even in Canada as well, if you are applying for your student visa. So if you study, for example, in other English speaking province, you have to invest more budget behind your education fees. But here in Quebec, if you know French very well, like B1 or B2 level, then obviously there will be 50% budget or 40% budget that you are spending in, for example, in Toronto or in Saskatchewan or British Columbia. In those provinces, when you spend a lot of money behind your education, your master's or bachelor's degree, but if you know French, then the government of Quebec subsidize your education expenses, right. The same thing in Europe as well. If you know French, then if you are applying for your for example, somebody is applying in UK education, it's 10 times expensive as compared to French education or other European countries, right. So if you know the local language, then it is an advantageous for you, right. Apart from that, so yeah, in Europe they have the Schengen zone. So if you have Europe's student visa or work visa, you can stay in that country, you can study in the country, but you can travel across Europe, and after your education you can find job. Suppose you have studied in France, but that doesn't mean that you are going to just work in France, but after under the Schengen zone you can search any you can work and you can live in any European EU countries, right. So Malta is also a part of European Union, right, and Cyprus, in French we call Chypre, so that is also a part of European Union. So they have a common currency. Everywhere in Europe they have a euro as a common currency, right. Here is that. This is the logo of Eurozone, right. In Frankfurt, this is the Frankfurt Stock Exchange in Germany, right. So they have common currency as a euro across Europe, right. Okay, voila. Let's we move next to the continent of Africa. So Africa, particularly in the North Africa and Central Africa, it's entirely French dominating since its colonial history, since its colonization. Even today also in many countries in Africa they utilize French. For example, there are many Indians are living in Maurice. In English we call Mauritius. In Seychelles you will find a lot of Indian diaspora, right, living in these two islands where French is also the first language, right. So if you have knowledge of French you can get better job opportunities, you can apply directly job from India to these places, right. And apart from that, in many African countries like Republic of Congo, Democratic Republic the Congo that we call in French, right, that is the highest French speaking country in Africa, right. Then in the ex-French colonies like in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Algeria, then in Mauritania, then in Mali, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, everywhere French is spoken as a first or second language, right. So you have ample of opportunities while by studying French language across the world. So the new horizon, the new door of your career will open once you learn French language, right. So these are the places that we have gone through, right. Our objective is DELF or DALF, right. So if you hold the B1, B2 or C1 level in DELF or DALF, right, the whole world is open for you, right. As like for example Quebec, then in many parts in Europe like I have explained, then even in Africa also, because Africa is the youngest continent, right. The average l'âge moyen, the average age in Africa is around 22, right. So it's the youngest continent in the world. It's a continent of future, like many in business they say, right. Voilà, donc merci beaucoup et moi je souhaite une bonne carrière et une bonne journée et bon voyage pour le monde francophone, right. I wish good luck for your future perspective after learning French. Merci beaucoup et bonne journée. Thank you.